Welcome to a return to Oneness. My name is Eddie, and I help people open their hearts. This video is part of the series, The System Exposed, and is titled, How the System Functions. If you are ready to be made aware of the system designed to imprison your mind, and to learn how that system functions, then it is time for you to follow the white rabbit. Everything in our world requires an energy source in order to function. Just like your car requires gasoline to power it, and our bodies require nourishment to fuel them, the world's system requires an energy source to sustain it. For without this energy source, the world's system would collapse and cease functioning. In the movie The Matrix, the main character Neo discovered that humans were the ones who were the power source for the machine world. Although many people simply believe the movie was a sci-fi thriller, it is steeped in symbolism and hidden truth. Yet many people will not believe the truth when they hear it. For as Morpheus told Neo, you have to understand, most of these people are not ready to be unplugged, and many of them are so inured, so hopelessly dependent on the system, that they will fight to protect it. You may be one of those people who have become so entranced by the system that your mind will recoil when it hears the truth. You may even defend the system, yet you may be one of those listening to this who recognizes that something is wrong with the world. You may not be able to define it or put your finger on it, but you know deep in your gut something just isn't right with the world. If you are one of those people, then continue to listen to this video. Before it ends, you too will discover, just like Neo did in the movie The Matrix, that humanity is the power source that fuels the system. However, unlike the movie, it isn't our bodies that generates the power needed to maintain the system. Rather, it is the very emotions we feel which powers it. Yes, your emotions fuel, thus feed the system, keeping it functioning just as it was designed to do. Right now, you may be thinking, wait, that doesn't make sense. Yet, always remember that your feelings, your emotions are energy, for they are quite literally energy in motion, or emotion. However, the world system is fueled by only one primary emotion, and that emotion is fear. But for you to understand how the system functions, you must come to recognize that there are only two primary emotions, love and fear. Yet what is not love is fear, regardless of what label you have given it. This means that emotions such as anger, depression, loneliness, irritation, and a plethora of others arise from but fear. And the purpose of the system and its programming is to keep you experiencing fear, even if that fear is buried deep within your subconscious. But what is fear? To understand what fear actually is, it helps to realize that fear falls into 6 categories. Those categories are fear of economic insecurity, fear of criticism or not being accepted, fear of sickness or ill health, fear of loss of love from someone, fear of old age, and finally, fear of death. Look carefully at those categories. For if you look closely enough, you will see the foundation underlying all fear. What is it? It is but the belief in loss. For all fear is but the fear of losing something you believe that you currently have. For example, if you have a job, do you have a nagging fear of losing that job? If you do lose your job, how will you make ends meet? Will you also lose your health insurance? Then what would happen if you got sick? Most people recognize that they have this fear, but they don't believe their fear harms them. Yet, in order to free yourself from the system, you must come to understand that it is fear that feeds the system, which in turn imprisons your mind, keeping you bound and unable to live the life that is yours. For fear robs you of creating the life you were meant to live and experience. And this is the way the system was designed, for it was designed to keep you in fear. No matter the form fear may take, whether that form is anger, sadness, or grief, it serves but the same purpose, to keep you in conflict. And conflict itself but serves to maintain fear. Thus, it is a never-ending feedback loop. Fear creates conflict, which in turn creates more fear. This is the system. Nothing ever changes because nothing changed. Fear, then, is the great power source which drives the engine of the world we each seem to experience. But why is this? The answer may seem ridiculous at first, but it is nevertheless the truth. The system is designed to keep you in fear, to keep you in conflict, and to keep you struggling. For the system does not want you to discover the truth of who and what you are. It does not want you to discover the truth of yourself, for it does not want you to know yourself. Why? Quite simply, the system of control and manipulation, the system designed to keep power and control in the hands of the few, the system based upon financial greed and immense wealth placed in the bank accounts of only a handful of people, would cease to exist because you would withdraw your allegiance to it. And this one thought keeps even those that seem to have the power in fear. For they too are bound by the system. They believe they are in control. Yet, their belief is delusional. They do not recognize that their belief is but a program embedded within their minds to maintain and preserve the system in perpetuity. As you can see and hear, no one is immune to the system, for it is in everything you see and experience, because the programming, the beliefs which create and engender fear are found within the minds of all those who walk this world. Think about this. The world seems like a scary place. It keeps everyone on the defensive, always believing that something will happen that will cause them to lose what they value and treasure. Again, recognize all fear is based in the fear of losing something, whether or not that something is health, financial security, love, or even life itself. But regardless of the category that comprises the fear, fear is still fear. And fear feeds the beast. You might be thinking, fear doesn't control my life. If this is what you are thinking, then ask yourself this question. How much of what I think, feel, and do involves fear-based thoughts, feelings, and actions? Be honest with yourself. You might be surprised when you realize that they consume most of your day. But to see this, you must be completely honest with yourself. In other words, you must include every possible form fear can present itself, including those times you feel anxious and worried, when you feel irritated by some aspect of an experience, when you feel hurt or betrayed by the words or action of another, when you felt alone, or when you wondered if you would have enough money to make it until you receive your next paycheck. If you are truly honest with yourself, the amount of time spent playing in one of the many forms of fear is much more than you were consciously aware. Recognize this too is by design, for the system's programming runs on a subconscious level, which means you go through your days on autopilot, completely unaware of the fear-based programs known as beliefs that govern how you interpret every experience. As such, you are not really in control of how you react to any given experience. Instead, the subconscious programs determine how you will react to every situation that arises. The system was purposely designed to keep you in a state of conscious unawareness. Although you remain consciously aware of what is happening around you, your response to those events are not governed by choice, but rather by the programs running within your subconscious mind. Yet, you cannot experience true freedom until you gain mastery over your mind, which requires deleting all the programming, the beliefs which foster the maintenance of fear. For until such time, you will remain controlled and manipulated by the system. True freedom is experienced only when you choose to respond in every circumstance by allowing yourself to respond to each one from a state of pure awareness. Thus, rather than being powerless to the events experienced, you recognize your true power in order to manifest outcomes in which everyone involved wins and no one loses. Yet, this cannot happen until all fear-based programming has been removed from your mind. Fear is to us like kryptonite was to Superman. For in the presence of fear, you remain weak and vulnerable. Yet fear does not exist separate from you. It lives in your mind. Only you can delete it. The choice is yours. No one can remove the fear held within your mind. You are the one who must do that. Is it easy? The answer is no. However, it is worth it. Why? Because you are worth it. You are worth your freedom. You are worth the life you have always desired. If you would like to discover how the fear-based programming was installed and how it controls you subconsciously, then click the subscribe button so that you will be notified when the next video, The System's Programming, becomes available. Thanks for listening, and always remember, you are loved, and you are love itself.